Alright, let's try this. Just testing out Trinity, so that you guys know. It looks like this. It is a buff. It's considered as lightning, cold, and fire. It doesn't do any damage, but you can boost its levels up using the 3 elemental support skills, or other support gems, and then looks like it does 10% more damage with attacks per 50 resonance. I think this thing goes up further. You can also level up to get another 2%, and as you have more level gems, it goes even higher. So I think it can go up to 12% plus 2, maybe 14%. That's kind of crazy, but right now, let's just say I'm at 10% for 50 resonance. Resonance, you can have a maximum of 100 per type. So fire is a bit difficult to build just because I'm more of an ice and electric monk. But I'm trying to incorporate fire by putting it on the bell for now. So my bell gains extra fire damage, which specifically helps me when I'm taking on bosses. And because that's when you need the highest damage boost. Against regular mobs, you don't really need that much damage. You need more survivability. This does cut off our heralds. We can't use our heralds together with this. There's just too much of a spirit requirement. Maybe at higher levels it's doable. Right now I've taken it off. I've also taken off the other dancer, which is Wind Dancer. I'm using Ghost Dance only. So single dancer. It does reduce our survivability by quite a bit. And also, without the heralds, you generally don't start off with so much base damage. I'm usually at 40k with my heralds because of this buff over here, Coming Calamity. But I'm thinking if I'm going to run Trinity, I could spec out of Coming Calamity, maybe use those points somewhere else, and that could also help us. Maybe just get more elemental damage buffs. That might be a bit more interesting. So how does Trinity work? It says on dealing elemental damage with an attack, you gain 11 resonance. It starts with 10. I think it goes higher as you get more levels on it. This is a level 18 base gem. I can actually take this up to 19 or 20. That way I'll get 3 more levels here. Takes it up to 22, 23. I think that will give me even more resonance with an attack hit, per attack hit. So it has to be an attack. The spells are not attacks, and this is important because if you're thinking that, oh, I could do elemental expression, and that might work because the way elemental expression works is considered as an AoE projectile trigger, and it's a spell. It's not an attack hit, so you can't get the elemental damage off from elemental expression, which I don't know. This move just sucks in general. It might be good for a spellblade kind of monk, which you go with spellblade, more meta skills, more intel focused monk. I don't know. Maybe that'll work. But for me, more of a dex focus, and I'm just going Unbound Avatar here. We don't have enough stacks of Unbound Fury. I recently used to take out a rare mob, but it's fine. I just want to showcase Trinity, and I think without Unbound, it makes more sense, because if I turn on Unbound, I might delete the boss before you can figure anything out. We also are effective with temporal chains, which means you might get a better look at how the buff is building up, and I'll try to pause if I can just to show you how Trinity works. So you could have 100 resonance of each type, and it's 50. For every 50 resonance, you get 10 more elemental damage. So by default, we'll be able to stack ice and lightning to up to 100 pretty easily. So that's 200 resonance. That is 40% increased elemental damage. That is significant. That is, I would say, more damage than what the Herald gives you. And there's a reason for this, is because that one is 40% elemental damage across the board, so all elements get boosted. This one specifically boosts cold and fire and lightning at a time. And there are significant differences with the way they're calculated. Instead of just cold damage, when you calculate the elemental damage, it's just stronger overall. So it gives us a flat boost. And just to show you the difference, if I turn off Trinity, I turn on these two heralds, you can see that I'm starting at about 41,000 in the base. I am using Rising Tempest, so if I just do a skill of any type, let's say Ice, I get another 4k, and if I have my Quarterstaff, Charge Staff, and I turn that on, I get another 4k. I can easily reach about 90,000 damage with this build, with the double heralds. And it's very good against taking out mobs. Like against groups of mobs, this works really well. but it doesn't work very well against bosses. So I decided to experiment again with with Trinity because I recently took on the Arbiter of Ash, which is a pinnacle boss. It's a very, very powerful boss. I took it on. I got kind of lucky with some of the RNG, and I kind of crit myself to victory. But I decided, you know what, I got to respec my build because I've been so used to clearing mobs, playing with Heralds, especially in this late game, because it's all about taking on hordes and hordes of mobs that I haven't really been focusing on bosses. And there's a reason for that. As the monk, most of these regular bosses are really, really weak. Even if the heralds don't work against them, you still kill them. And I don't think the same works against pinnacle bosses, who clearly are like the ultimate boss. They're just superior, and because of that, um, even against the iron, like the Citadel bosses, I think you might as well learn to figure a way out of heralds. So I decided I'm going to turn off my heralds and turn on Trinity and give this a go. But I have been trying Trinity against regular mobs. It is a little bit weaker compared to having the heralds, because the heralds allow you to kill those mobs at the back relatively quickly, while giving you a significant damage boost as you move around. It's just more fun to play with heralds, I feel. But it's a very specific build. And if I could swap out of the heralds into Trinity, I would, except I won't be getting the coming calamity benefits. So yeah, I'm thinking how to just spec out of this instead of getting the 50% increase while affected by this. I'd rather just get a flat 50% from something like Echoing Frost and maybe Echoing Thunder and maybe even Flames. So I already have Harness the Elements, which gives me 15% increased elemental damage for increased damage actually for each elemental ailment on an enemy. You're not always inflicting ailments, but if you have enough cold damage, like if you crit, generally you're doing enough damage to inflict shock, chill, and freeze. So the only thing I don't regularly inflict on enemies is ignite and electrocute. I could figure out a way to get electrocute onto my build, but ignite is a little bit tricky just because we don't do enough fire damage. So we could change this, as time goes on. If we figure out how to, we could change it. But I have a feeling for now, just putting the fire damage on the bell should be good enough for us to work on the boss. So let's get to the battle. This should be an easy boss. I regularly fight this boss, but I just want to focus on Trinity itself. So I'm just going to try to stay alive and try to get enough damage on this boss without killing it, if we can. So first, of course, you dodge the boss, get 4 hits, we drop the bell. Gonna get a frost here. That gives us a easy way to get the bell damage going. And I think you can barely see, as I'm hitting the bell, I am getting a little bit of resonance charges for fire, but it's going down so fast because of the other 2 elements. And if I were to just pause here, right? If I were to just pause here, can I just pause? Okay. As you can see, I'm already having 100 of each resonance. Can I just check resonance alone? No. But my damage shows it's about 52k for now. Let me show you what it goes up to. Sorry, whenever I dodge the, what do you call this? Okay, I think this is a good time to show you. So I'm going up to 84k, and pretty easily I'll be building up to 100k. Okay, we stunned the boss. I don't know whether that helps. Yeah, I'm playing a little bit slower, so I'm not getting the damage up. But as you can see, I'm at 100k now. And I'm dodging often, so I can't show it to you when I hit that. But we are easily going to 120... Yeah, easily 120k DPS. And then it's going down, as you can see, as all my buffs go away and as we lose resonance. So I just wish it was a little bit clearer as to how much the resonance itself gives, but I think the amount of damage increases that we can achieve with this, especially against bosses, is significantly higher than the heralds, because heralds don't really help you much. They just give you 50% for each damage type, as per what this says. And I think these two really help, because they give you a 24% increased damage when you are affected by a herald. And this is a flat 24, by the way. Yeah, so heralds are nice. I think the 24 plus 50, which is about 74% increased damage, is really, really cool. Although I think there might be a way to make resonance. I don't know, maybe build even more damage as we stack up fire. And it's kind of what I'm experimenting with. So 40%, maybe we can get 50% elemental damage increase. I still feel mathematically it doesn't add up to the Herald. It just doesn't. But for whatever reason, I can definitely achieve higher damage with this. Wait, do we have any more? We have one monster somewhere. Alright, I have to look for that monster. Let's just pick these up. Wait, is this a good one? It's a strength. No. I want another intel helmet if I get lucky with it. But yeah, so we are at 41,000 here. And charge staff does about 22,000. If we turn these off, we lose 300 and we lose about 7,000. But even though we lose 7,000, we hit 100k a lot faster with Trinity. Why though? There's something it does mathematically that just doesn't add up for me. Like, right, I really don't know why it stacks up so much more damage than the Heralds. And this is one of those things in Path of Exile that is a little bit tricky for me to fully understand. I'll have to show you in comparison with me just fighting a boss with Heralds. So maybe I'll try to look for a boss that I can fight with my Heralds on. But obviously you know that the Heralds are not going to hit the boss, right? So we're purely talking about the damage that the Herald, what do you call this, nodes give you. Versus just something like if I didn't even spec out of these. Like if I spec out of these and I spec into perhaps some of these, Echoing Frost and Thunder, and maybe even Flames, I could get a 90% damage increase, and then from some of these maybe 100% increase elemental damage compared to these. Yeah, so I could get a lot more. You could argue that, hey, even if you don't spec out a Herald, you could still drop a few other points and get these 3 nodes. That's true, but you know what I mean is I could save a few points here. Instead of getting the Herald, I could just use Trinity. Well, it's something to think about. You know, the alternative, of course, is I keep my Heralds on with Trinity, right? But I think that's super endgame because I clearly do not have sufficient spirit to support all of those. If I turn off these two, I could get both these Heralds going. I might even be able to get Frenzy going, actually. Let's see, this is 15 spirit, let me move this there. And that's mana regen. Let's see, so if I put these... Okay, now I can get Frenzy with double Herald and Trinity. This has to be insane, right? Like the amount of damage I can output. The thing is I don't have Ghost Dance though. So we go balls out, right? No protection, right? And we just go all in. So if we get hit, we just die. We just die here. What does my evasion look like? Oh man, it's so low. By the way, I did switch out of Protect Me from Harm to experiment with acrobatics, and I can say for sure, acrobatics is pretty fun. Like, because armor just doesn't block enough, I might as well just bet on the evasion, and acrobatics sort of solves that problem for me. Of course, it takes off quite a bit of evasion from us, but I was actually solving that problem with Wind Dancer. Wind Dancer was giving us back a good amount of evasion, and we sit at about 70, 75 sometimes, and I thought that was pretty good. But now, I don't know, would we want to use Trinity with the Heralds? I really got to test this out. Let's go into another map and let's try this out. Let me look for a simple map here. We're heading towards this Copper Citadel. But we should be able to head towards a map that's relatively interesting on the way. sucks. What else do I have? All of these suck. I'm just gonna quickly clear this and then get back to you guys. Alright, we're trying a full no defense build. It'll come down to how fast we can do damage, of course. Okay. So far so good. What's our damage reaching? 120k, easy. Wow. Okay. 130. I think stable we might easily go to 150 here. This is from 40k by the way, so if you're scaling this with a base of 50, you know, you can imagine it's like basically 3 times whatever base damage is. I think you can just you triple your damage as you fight. It's kind of insane how powerful that is. Yep, easy 120. Yep, got a little bit stunned there. So the interruption, so that's kind of the downsides I guess of not having all our usual defensive items. Alright, I think I'm comfortable with this so far, just that we gotta probably figure out a way to maintain this level of damage. I do not specifically feel like I need to run both Heralds and Trinity. I still think it's way too much damage. But I think there's some benefits to this, in a sense where I know that I can do these two. And if I probably respec out of maybe some nodes that's just giving us too much damage or whatever, right? We could allow our Heralds and Trinity buff to be the engine for our damage, and that way we can just focus on a more defense-oriented passives, and that might actually help us. Alright, we're at 126 actually, this is insane. Like usually to reach these kinds of numbers it takes me quite a bit of running around. Like I gotta take on big groups of mobs to keep generating that number, but with this it's actually kind of easy. Where's the rare? There was a rare here. Wait, he died? Oh. That makes sense, okay. Right, we got a life regen buff. I think we should be able to safely show you guys a bit more. You know what? Never mind. These things are kind of nasty. Yeah, I'm just gonna dodge out of the way of that one. What did we reach? I think we reached about 130 almost. Another shrine here. Very lucky. Well, we do have passives that's giving us the increased chance to find the shrine. So that's kind of nice. Look at that. 130, 150. There we go. 160. Yep. Let's keep going. Keep it going. Oh, that's insane. Another shrine? Is this game kidding? Give me 3 shrines. I'm at 350,000 damage. No, this is broken. This is broken. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do this much damage. This is insane. Yeah, this is kind of illegal levels of damage just for all this spirit. They really have to do a thing about spirits, which is we should not need to follow them. I think it's nice that they guide us, and that's okay. I mean, if you want, I think it should be an option if you want to follow it. But I think even if we don't follow the spirits, they should still end up where they're supposed to. And I think that'll be nice. And we already beat the map actually. There's a lot of AoE damage there, but still, we cleared the map pretty fast. I think GGG's decision to make the rares visible from the beginning definitely increased the clear speeds of maps, because you know exactly where those rares are. Me personally, I'm not really a fan of it. I used to, play every map like, it's a mini campaign sort of feeling, where I gotta explore the map, figure out where these mobs are. I'm not too big into just clearing. It's not really my style. That's part of Exile. I was trying to look for an alternative in PoE 2. My expectations were that it is a slower, more methodical game, and that's what it was sold as. But maybe it's a sudden scaling from early to late game, so it just makes it feel kind of I don't know, kind of disconnected. I feel like I still like the campaign's progression and the pacing of it a lot more than the end game. I feel like the end game probably because I mean I do understand the gripes about it. I think it's probably because of how many maps you got to clear to before you make an achievement of sorts, and that's kind of annoying. Like in the campaign you clear like you go to a map, you fight a boss, you go to the next map, you fight the next boss. There are mini bosses, big bosses. You clear all of these, and then there's story that's building up as you do this. But in the end game, there's just no story, and I feel like maybe that's where the players feel there's just not enough progression. Also, in terms of leveling, in the early game, Act 1 to Act 6, you do get skill points almost every time. Like every map you clear, you get a skill point. In the end game, getting one level is like you gotta pray that you never die. Because if you die, you're just not getting it, right? So, yeah. But anyway, let's continue our experimentation here before we head off. So, the buffs are, the shrine buffs are gone. So, this is just our damage here. I do feel the downsides of not having the defenses. I feel like we can, in fact, die. Oh, we got a lucky second roll with the chest. Let's just do the second roll. That is an Atlas tree passive, which gives you a chance where the chest allows you to re-roll. I mean, sort of OP open the second time. I think that's the right description. And what are we at? 80,000 easy. Yeah, it's a shitty chest still, but hey, the second try always at least gives us a bit more hope, just a bit more hope, no matter how shitty it is. But okay, I mean, I see the benefits of this build. I think if we get a slightly better armor with even higher evasion, there's a probability that we could, we could run even more passives, and that's kind of insane to think about. So, yeah, it might be something we could work. Agility belt. Okay, I need this. I do need this. Do we have... No, we don't have a chance. I think we got rid of all of our 2 chances. We do need the utility belt. I'm trying to roll for something exclusive. So 26% stun, huh? That's actually a good belt. Yeah, we could work it into something amazing if we do it properly. So we'll be working on trying to respec and maybe experiment a little bit more. But I think if you don't go Heralds, Trinity might be the answer. Because for 100 spirit, you basically get as much damage as the Heralds give you. And you don't even need to go down the Coming Calamity route, right? You get Harness the Elements, you get all your power charges, and you're pretty much dealing almost 100k damage. And quite consistently, mind you. So, yeah, just a little something I want to try. So with the Heralds, I think I'm feeling maybe another 10-20% damage, like with the Heralds and Trinity. So I don't think it's necessary to run both. But I do know for certain that I could run Heralds while I'm taking on mobs, and then run Trinity when I'm taking on the boss. And that does make me happy, because I think there's huge benefits to being able to do that, right? I still think Ghost Dance is better than Wind Dancer, and that's for obvious reasons where we recover energy shield. But Wind Dancer is also pretty powerful if you're running acrobatics, because you can dodge all hits if you have high enough evasion. And because this gives you 30% evasion, just like that, it's still a pretty good buff. Also, when you get surrounded, Gale Force actually helps you move in and out of fights. If you're melee, it really helps you. Plus, you can also add the energy barrier, which protects you and allows your shield to recover when stunned. It works really well with the Ghost Dancer, basically. Double Dancer really, really kept me alive. most of the campaign. So I don't know how I feel about Trinity. I feel like if I had fire, like if I had another Herald, maybe Herald of Ash, or more fire damage, I think Trinity definitely stomps. But if I don't have the fire damage, I think Trinity just falls slightly short of the two Heralds, you know? And even against bosses, because with the two Heralds, it just naturally gives me more TPS. And even if they don't work on the boss itself, just the damage that the damage boost, having the Heralds on gives me, I think puts me in a really, really good spot. But I could have Trinity, and that just makes me a bit of a monster. A really scary monster too. But the risk is I don't run Ghost Dance, and I don't run Wind Dancer. So yeah, and also I don't get the benefits of some of these additional support gems, right? Because some of these support gems they require even more spirit to run. I think mainly warm blooded. It was nice because when I do get frozen, which is very rare by the way, but if I do get frozen, I can shrug it off pretty easily. And freeze is I think the most dangerous of the stuns because it's a 4 second build up, so that really helps. And I think this one's stun, as you can see, it says here. Where is the light stun? Is nothing. That's just a little tick. Heavy stun is heavily stunned. Wait, what the hell? Why doesn't it say how long the heavy stun lasts for? Wait, it doesn't say how long the heavy stun lasts for? GGG, you guys better... Like, we know freeze is 4 seconds, so with this, it makes it, it makes it 2 seconds. Heavy stun. Heavy stun occurs when target stun bar is filled. Players and their minions usually cannot be heavily stunned, but players can receive heavy stun buildup while taking specific actions. Usually cannot be heavily stunned. Okay, I see. Yeah, so freeze is the biggest enemy. Stun, not so much. Stun interrupts your actions. I think that's the downsides of stun, but being frozen means you pretty much can be deleted. So Warm Blood was helping in very rare scenarios where the Thawing Charm's already out of charges. I go 1 charge on that. So if it is out of charges, then that kicks in. Yeah, I lose out defensively quite a lot if I run Trinity, but offensively it has huge potential. So I guess we'll stay tuned to see what we can do with Trinity as time goes on. But I do like it. I'm really interested to see how I can fit fire into my build. It's just that if I look at the monk's tree and I type something like, for example, cold, I can see that all of these are cold stuff. There's a lot of cold nodes here, cold nodes here. There's even freeze. There's even some nodes specific to freeze. Wait, why doesn't it show extra E? Okay, there we go. There we go. There's freeze here. There's some freeze here. There's freeze here. Of course, there's cold damage here, and you have cold and lightning just straight up in your invoker class as well. There's just benefits to it. But if I go fire, this is the only one that I see, and it penetrates fire resistance. We don't need penetration because we have Sunder My Enemies, which when you crit, you pretty much zero their elemental resistance, so you don't need penetration. You don't need penetration at all in a monk's build if you take this. Just don't. Go for crit and don't take any penetration notes. That'll be my 2 cents. And how about burn? Ignite, okay. We don't have burn, so ignite is the right term here. So this is ignite, nothing else, literally. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's projectile, it's not fire damage. So the only thing fire damage will benefit from is elemental. And for elemental specifically, this is chill and shock only. There's no ignite there, so it's whatever. This has fire damage when you have Herald of Ash, and of course this has 15% for each elemental ailment. I'd rather run Herald of Ash actually in that case, right? Because even without Trinity, I still get 50% fire damage increase. I do have to get fire damage onto the my damage output though, but that's spreading myself maybe a little too thin. But it would be nice knowing that I do ignite enemies, and that counts as an ailment, and that also gives me 30% increased elemental damage. Recently, of course, meaning 4 seconds only, but hey, that's still interesting. What if I take reduce reservation of Herald? 6%, huh? Let's see how much 6% reduction gives me.
Speak.
Just to be clear. So these are the 2 heralds that reserve. Let's turn off all the other stuff. I just need to know the herald reservation. I'm at 214 spirit. Let's spec out of this. Spec into that. Alright, so 167. So I should be at 160. 174? No, wait. I should be at 164. So I get like 3 spirit, literally. If I have 2 heralds, I get 8 spirit. Really? No, wait. Not even 8. I get 4 spirit. The heck? That really sucks, huh? Maybe it adds up pretty well. Maybe it adds up pretty well. What else could we spec out of? We could spec out of this. And then just reduce the cost of the attack again. We could. That is an option. Because I need like 2 more nodes. Crashing wave is too strong. I think these 2 nodes are better than the 8% attack damage. I could be wrong. But I think they are better. Yeah, you gotta take all these 3 to fully benefit from the Herald reservation thingy. Yeah, that seems to be the case. Because otherwise I'd rather just take this. That's like, I don't know, another 500 damage or whatever. Just straight up. Actually, let me try this. I'm kind of curious. I'm at 40 to 55. Let's just take another out of, I don't know, maybe here. Put it here. Apply that first. Take out these 2. Okay. So 4362. Okay. So those are better than just the flat attack damage increase. Because we crit so much. Wow. That is interesting. Huh. Okay. Okay, I mean, I don't mind trying this. We do spend quite a bit of mana right now because of the cost of the Ice Strike. And while we try this, for a 16% reduced cost of skills, it's not as good as the 30% cost reduction from the gem itself. So let's just take out these 3 and pop them into the Herald and see how much that gives us. Okay, now we're talking. Now it gives us 148. So this should take 30. This takes 40. Oh, because of this. Right. So we had 148. Just take out these three just to confirm. 134. Okay, so we get 14 spirit. Huh. So that could allow us to run the Herald of Ash pretty easily without Trinity though. We have 48 more spirit. We have 18. Now we have 30. The 30% more Herald damage because the 20% spirit reservation is huge. It's huge, but we lose 20% spirit. Right, that's 3000 damage basically from the Herald of Ice's explosion. Okay, I mean, I see how we can fit all three Heralds and Trinity on here. It's kind of scary though that we can do that. But I do see how we can do that, so let's try. Alright, let's get the Herald of Ash. What's the highest level of Herald of Ash that I could equip? Let's see. I need 133 strength, you're level 58. My strength is shite, right? It's 64. I could drop some dex. How much dex could I drop? Let's see. 133. I could go down to 165. Okay. I don't want to drop too much dex. Alright, let's just see if I take something like... Okay, skill... Uncut, sorry. Spirit... Let's just go to like maybe... I don't know, like level 13. Ash. I need 120 strength.
Go on.
How easily could I do that? I don't have that many dex notes actually. I might as well just change them all to strength and see if that helps, right? Alright. The rest of these are int, and I think I need those. I have another strength here. I can change here, here, and there. That's dex. That's flat dex, right? Can't change that. Yeah. Right now, all of these are strength. That's gonna hurt my damage, isn't it? Oh, okay, okay. So I lost the dex to equip this. I need 165. I need 30 dex, I think. Alright, let's just change these to dex. 5, 10, 15, 20. That's enough. Yeah. Somehow that makes sense. Let's change 1. That's still okay. Okay. $175 dex. 170 dex. And now I can't. Okay. Okay, that's enough. So my strength goes to 104. That is not enough. That's not enough strength. I'm not strong enough, guys. I'm just not strong enough. So how does this work? I can't run the Herald. I need 191 dex though. Holy crap.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of difficult. 186. I'm not running Herald of Thunder, am I? No, it is. No, it's running. I only have 84 strength. I'm really weak. Let's see. How about this? Ash. 34. Spirit. Ash. Okay, so maybe level 12 gem? I have a level 9. I don't have a level 12. Okay, that's 72. So when enemies you overkill with non-herald attacks will cause an explosion that ignites nearby enemies based on overkill damage dealt. Base ignite damage is 20% of the overkill damage. It has to be a non-herald attack. So that's my regular attack. So when I pop an enemy, 20% of that additional damage, let's just say it's, I don't know, 1,000 damage or 10,000 damage, 2,000 fire damage gets spread. Igniting surrounding enemies if overkill damage is at least 20% of enemy's maximum life. Oh, I see, I see. So there's a bit of math on the Herald of Ash. Right, no worries. Let's just take the Herald first. Oh wait, did I? No. Now we're running 3 Heralds, Trinity, and Combat Frenzy. And we have 9 Spirit left. Well, only one way to find out is to test it, right? But let me just check if the Herald of Ash has any good gems that's not spirit dependent. Let's see. Okay, regular stuff, cannibalism, whatever. Cool, hit it. Okay, upmelting. So I'm not running cannibalism right now, but I think I had it. Oh, there, I have it. I do have it. That's a very good gem, by the way, cannibalism. If you guys are running it, 2% life recovery. Let's see. While on low life, okay, that's not very good. Spell damage, thorns damage, minion damage. Enemies affected by non-ailment damage, which is shock, freeze, chill. From supported skills have 50% reduced life regeneration rate. That's very interesting. Do I care about enemies' life regeneration? Almost never. This sounds like a very PvP kind of gem. I don't know if GGG is testing on PvP. 1% max life per second. I think that's what they're heading towards, right? By introducing all the rogue exiles and whatever. Deal 30% more non-ailment damage over time. 20% less duration of supported skills in damaging ailments. Non-ailment damage over time? What does that mean? There's damage over time that's not ailment? Like chaos, maybe? Bleed. Oh, it's for bleed. And okay, it's for bleed and chaos damage, I see. Because that's the only non-ailment. No, wait. Bleeding is an ailment. So and poison is also. So what is a non-ailment damage over time? Actually, I'm not sure about this one. It kind of takes me off a little bit. Brutality. No chaos damage. No elemental damage. Okay, so I don't have to buff the Herald of Ash. I just take it as this and just test it out. Let's see. I can test it out there. I can test it out here. Might as well go this way. Increase the ailment threshold. Bad idea to test against that. Penetrate 25 elemental resist. Less cooldown recovery. Extra fire damage. Chaos. Eh. I don't mind this one. I just want something that's neutral so I can see how much of damage I'm actually doing. So, wait, what? No, I gotta move. Wait, oh, I just gotta move. Okay. So I'm at 39.5. I was at 40 because I had the melee damage increase here. I could take it again. That's fine. $40.4. There we go. So with 40.4, we have 3 elements. But the bell is the only thing that can trigger fire damage. Because we don't have fire damage or anything else. We could add fire damage to the weapon by just adding one of the runes, right? A fire damage rune. Would I lose DPS that way? It's worth experimenting, actually. You know what? Just give me a sec. Actually, let me experiment with that. We'll take the rune with us. And then we'll try with and without it. Because I have too many iron runes, I really do not mind ditching that to test it out. Let's put a desert rune here. I'm gonna keep the soul core because that's elemental damage. So I'm just adding a little bit of fire damage to my attacks. Not much, just a little bit. As you can see, I already lost damage because of the lack of physical damage. But now I consistently deal fire damage, which should trigger the Trinity. I could actually use the fire infusion on this. Let's try that as well. Let's see, gem, support, fire. Okay, so for the bell, I removed something that was maybe physical or stun or something. Days build up. No. Stun. I could take Unbreakable with the Tempo spell. That actually would work. This on the Tempo spell might be okay actually. Alright, so I'm gonna move the extra fire damage to the Herald of Ash. No wait, it can't. Attacks. Oh, so these two heralds are counted as attacks. Attack persistent AoE, as it says over here. Herald of Ash is not an attack. Wow. It's just a herald. Why does the game treat Herald of Ash as a non-attack? That's very interesting. I didn't know that. I'm not an Ash player, so I've not really seen it happening. I do see the fire damage definitely triggering. No doubt about it. We are a little bit softer as well because we don't have the dancers. Like, I actually feel it's taking more damage. Alright, this cold thingy is not really going to show you my actual damage here, but whatever. We are 200,000, easy. Do we want this? Oh, whatever. I'll just take it. We're dealing a lot of damage because of the ice buff. We'll try to lose the ice buff as fast as we can while clearing some enemies. But I think I just want you guys to focus on Trinity to see whether it builds up enough or at all, just based on the damage we deal. I feel like the fire is not building up at all. you know. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Yeah, that's probably a high evasion monster or something. Sorry, high accuracy monster or something. So if I were to check this again, it says with attacks. Of the highest elemental damage type. And lose 2 of the other types. So it's still better on the bell. Yeah. Seems to be the case. Seems to be like it will be still better to put it on the bell and just build the fire damage from there. Because I think the ice strike's attack damage is not just it's just not gonna trigger the fire. You see that? It's just I'm not building any fire resonance. I've just been building ice. I'm turning on the lightning now, and as you can see I'm building up lightning really easily. But even from the Herald's explosions, because it's not an attack. Oh, that's another thing, isn't it? Because these are counted as attacks. They also build the resonance. The Heralds also build it because they count as attack. But the Herald of Ash is not an attack, which means it's just not gonna work. I feel like it's such a specific build. You gotta figure out a fire thing that does that's counted as an attack. And I'm not really sure how to go about it. Maybe regular attack with an infusion might work. I don't know. Great, now we gotta follow this spirit. They have not improved the drop rates with the spirit yet, so it's whatever. But I'm gonna try my luck because I did level up the passive. Okay, you're here. Okay. Oh, taking a lot of damage there. There we go. Alright, we're definitely able to delete these mobs with the amount of damage we're doing. And, you know, the Herald's overkill is triggering. But again, it's not gonna work against bosses. So I don't know, I feel like Trinity is just not good enough to justify me dropping all of my defensive passives. I feel the defensive passives are just too good. Plus with the Herald support gem that gives me 30% increased Herald damage, you know, on my Herald of Ice, it's just too strong. Like just in general. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like my final verdict on it. I feel like Trinity is just not there yet. You know what? What I can do is I could go back and just check if there's an attack gem or an attack skill gem that I could put on the monk, or some other enhancement type skill. You know, like a Chayula or something. The hand of Chayula, not the Chayula class. God damn these two. Okay, you know what? I gotta switch to regular attack here because these two are really annoying. Yeah, so if this mana pieces of shit come towards you, just switch to your regular attack hit and just do that. It's so annoying that we gotta do that though. But hey, if it works.
I have no room for that.
Is this thing even like good? What did I pick up? That's crap. This one. This is crap. Let's take the robe. I actually want to try to find a decent robe. 129 intelligence. What I have is just better. Yeah, another thing is also the strength lineup that I gotta put in just to get the Herald running. Like, it doesn't really benefit me. It gives me a bit of life, sure, but other than that, you know, with the high evasion build, you don't really need that much strength. Okay, you know what? Let's just identify and are you good? No, you're not. Neither are these two. So let's just sell that, sell that. I know I could salvage it or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. Been working on a new staff, so I'm just collecting these Aegis quarterstaffs. I'm just going to be re-rolling them as much as I can to get a better staff, because I think this is the next step from the one that I have. I would like to have the 15% block chance. That'll be huge if I can get it. Even at 10% I think would really help us, because if my evasion doesn't work and I block it, that'll be really lucky. I know I'm betting on two contradictory things, but if it works, right? Okay, so let's go back to the gems and let's check these skill gems, and let's see whether I can find an attack skill gem for the monk. Let's just take something that's like level 18, sure. Fire attack. Let's do that. I think there's a way to do and, right? Fire. Oh wait, I gotta change my keyboard to the US keyboard. Fire and attack. Does that work? No? It seems to be doing the on thing as the or condition. I don't want the or condition. Fire attack. Does that work? I think that works. Comma? Oh, okay, okay. I think that works. Alright, this one requires a spear. Crossbow, spear. So spear seems to have like interesting multi-elemental attacks. Consumes free shock and ignite on a number of enemies, allies, and corpses. The pulse itself deals no damage for each elemental element consumed, causes an explosion of the corresponding elemental damage type. That's interesting. What else do we have? This one, volcanic fissure. That's a strength-based attack. Oil grenade. Okay, I think we need to ignite that though. Arrow. Okay, with the bow, you got fire attacks. So maybe I gotta add a bow. Yeah, I think that's the right way to do it, is to add a bow weapon that just does fire attacks. Because everything else requires strength. Right, so if I go quarterstaff, fire, I got nothing. None of these are fire actually, I don't even know why they're showing. I think that the wood fire is somewhere right there. So that's not gonna work. None of these, like these are way too... These are not attacks, they are spells, so they're not gonna work either. So crossbow, strength. Crossbow requires strength. Bow is the only thing that doesn't require strength. Okay, I see. So then detonating arrow. Only detonating arrow. Channel to build up power before firing off a burning arrow. At a maximum charge, the arrow will detonate at the end of its flight, causing explosion in area. Modifiers to attack speed also affect the skill's cost. 120% of damage and extra fire damage per stage. Maximum 4 stages. Okay, it's like a channeling. Yeah, it's a channeling skill. I don't know whether I like channeling skills. Okay, I think we're gonna conclude this for now, as Trinity is powerful, and it might be even good against bosses specifically. Herald of Ash just does not work very well for us, so we're gonna ditch that altogether. There is potential in running double Herald with Trinity, because you could still add Ghost Dance in there, and you might still be fine. You know, we seem to have a good amount of spirit to do this. You know, there's even potential of just turning off one Herald. Right, like just turning off Herald of Thunder.
Shocking.
We lose like what, 200 damage on the other Herald. We lose, let's see, it's 39.1. 38. As we use 1,000 damage there. Wave of Frost doesn't really benefit much, right? Yeah, it's like 100 damage. And charge staff, how much do we lose here? It's 1.9k. We lose about 100. So we lose about 200, 300 damage here and there. If you take the lightning out of the build, we'll probably shock enemies a little less as well. But other than that, Herald of Thunder does not really do too much. Yeah, it doesn't really give us too much. So this could work. Yeah, this could work. Might be a way to actually. We lose Wind Dancer. So we can add Wind Dancer in the place of Herald of Thunder. That will give us more survivability. Because Trinity is definitely going to give us more damage than Herald of Thunder. There's no doubt about it. And Herald of Ice is definitely what we trigger more often. So actually, that might work. Right? Oh, because of the reservation, the Herald reservation, Herald of Thunder can be fit, but Wind Dancer does not. That's interesting. And I feel like the reservation makes sense if you're running multiple Heralds only. But otherwise not so. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's enough experimentation with Trinity. I still think it's a powerful skill. It's very expensive. 100 spirit is pretty insane. So I think if we have just another 30 to 40 spirit, if we have another armor with even higher evasion or energy shield, I think there's a probability we could fit Trinity into the build with the double herald comfortably. But for now, I feel like being defensively stronger is still safer for me, because as you saw, one high evasion enemy just popped me there as we were just going about our day, and that thing just decided to kill us. So yeah, and with the Herald reservation, I think we still get some benefits here and there. Let's see. Consume the blind, do a little more damage. Extra lightning damage. Herald more damage. Combat frenzy. Ghost dance get life on kill. Ghost dance mana generation. Wind dancer maim. Wind dancer energy shield. Less freeze duration. Sure. And look at that. We still have like 18 spirit left with the Herald reservation thingy. And we actually didn't have too much mana problem earlier. Yeah, we actually didn't. We barely had any mana problems, surprisingly. Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, like mana wasn't really too much of a problem in the earlier, except when we faced those enemies that drain our mana. But other than those, yeah, mana just wasn't an issue. So anyway, we have 18 more spirit, so we could probably fit something good. Let's just put the +1 cold, +1 lightning, and let's put the +1 fire on Unbound Avatar there. I could put all three on Unbound Avatar, sure, but it's not that great of a skill. It's pretty powerful against, nuking enemies, but it's a 10-second skill. You can make it 11 seconds, but that's about it. So long, Trinity. I will be seeing you again, I'm pretty sure, in the next 5 levels, I think. Yeah, I think then in the next 5 levels we should be able to find something, a vest of sorts, that gives us sufficient boost to our spirit. Then that will allow us to run Trinity as well. But I still think that we'll have to ditch one of the dancers. I don't think we can run that many dancers at the same time. But hey, it's still pretty amazing that we were able to reach almost 200,000 DPS while clearing mobs. And I kept I had to not dodge while I was doing that, because if I dodge, it hides the skill window, right? So it hides the skill window the moment I press the spacebar. So I tried my best to show you guys as much damage as I can output with that, but even without that, I still reach 100k pretty comfortably. Um, so yeah, I still think there's positives in the sense where you can swap Trinity when you're taking on a boss, especially the Pinnacle boss. I think just turn off the two Heralds, just put Trinity in there, and you're gonna do more damage already. And I think that's still a better option. Yeah, yeah, I think that's the right way to do it. Just swap Trinity in there, take out the two Heralds, and we're good to take on the bosses. Turn off those two. 84 Spirit, maybe take out Warm-Blooded. We are 99 damage, so close. This one, Cannibalism. Because you don't kill the boss, right? So, yeah. And then you get Trinity going. Yeah, basically all these on-kill effects, you gotta ditch when you're taking on just the boss. Right? And then you should be good. But when you're taking on mobs,
Winter prevails.
Heralds with all the on-kill effects are just straight up better. So there is that. Alright, that's enough for experimenting for today. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll give you guys more details about my build in general, but this is just specifically me comparing the what do you call this, Trinity with the two heralds that I have. Try to fit in other heralds. I don't know, I've tried it a few times. I'm just not doing it right, perhaps. Maybe someone else is a better guide to this, but hey, I tried to do my best to show you guys what I can do. And also, I think Trinity is definitely an alternative for those who don't want to play as herald. So if you're just not playing this herald tree at all, um, and you're somehow able to fit fire damage into your attacks, because that's specifically what Trinity wants, right? Um, the highest elemental damage type, right? And lose 2 resonance of the other types. Yeah, yeah, it's very specific. It's very specific. It works great. It's just very specific. Yeah. And again, understand that I could have made it a level 19 Trinity, but again, since I had the +3 from Fire, Cold, and Lightning gems, it pretty much acted as like a level 20, 21 gem. So it's still okay. It still shows you pretty close to what how strong it can actually be. But yeah, that's about it from me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.